Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. It's that time again for another monthly reading, and this time we're going to be looking at each of your birthday months in terms of what will happen in December. For this month's reading, I've decided to use a very simple oracle card to accompany it. It's called the Mystic Journey Oracle, and it consists of a card with a single word. And let's see what it has to say that might accompany the readings that are to follow. I certainly hope you've been getting something positive out of the readings I've been doing this year. I'll continue on for a little while longer before I make a decision about whether or not to continue them. They haven't received a great deal of interest so far, but I'm extremely hopeful. And as Cash Peters would have it, just keep on. If it's your soul's journey, you'll get there. So that's where I'm going. All right, I'd like to welcome back those of you who have been following this series of sessions, and I hope that your colour readings for each month have had something of interest for you that's helped to guide you through that month. It has been a very tumultuous year across the world, and we're now coming to the close of it, and hopefully by the end of this upcoming month, we'll be back to some sort of normality for the new year for 2026. But for now, let's just look at December 2025. If you're new here, this is not the sort of reading that you would find in a tarot reading. This is done per month because we tend to resonate to our birth months regardless of our cultural backgrounds, and also because colours don't read quite the same as tarot cards do. But I hope you'll find it interesting enough to come back. Let's see, shall we? So let's get on with the colour reading for people born in the month of June for their December 2025. And we'll begin with an oracle card. And pop that one in under there to be looked at the end of the reading. And now I want some colour cards for people born in June to accompany their December 2025. And we begin with white on grey, pink on blue, black on grey, and the underlying energy is red on white. Well, the first thing we notice is that there are two colours that have repeats. We have white as the action that we enter into December with, and also we have white as the need or drive in the underlying energy. As well as that, we have grey as the need or drive coming into the month, and it's the same need or drive that sees June people out of December 2025. So what does this mean? Red over white. White internally is being emptied out. There is an absolute exhaustion of ideas, of physicality, of resources. Absolutely everything has been emptied out. It's a flash of enlightenment that may or may not necessarily be pleasant. And the reason I say this is that sometimes we don't mind getting rid of all of the old in order to make room for the new. But when it's an internal issue, more often than not, it means that there has been a major shock. And that shock has created a massive activation in the real world. This is red energy. It is energy where you are doing all sorts of things, potentially dangerous, when you should actually be stopping. Because red to us as a culture often says, stop, don't go any further, particularly when it's in the real world. But you're not going to be stopping. This is what the underlying energy is all about. There is an emptiness that you need to fill with something. And so, in other words, you become hyperactive. You start doing things on impulse. And that impulse can indeed create a loss of blood. So be very careful, because if you're not going to stop in time, you might just create some sort of damage for yourself. That is the warning that is inherent in this red in the real world. Coming into the month, you have white on grey. Grey internally is a search for some sort of middle ground. It's a feeling of uncertainty and confusion, and whatever it is that you have brought with you into December from November has created that sort of feeling of not quite sure where you are or where you're headed or what you need to do. And in the real world, there is no actual guidance. The white in the real world means that there is energy coming in from all sorts of directions, but it's also energy going out from you in all sorts of directions, and none of them are particularly organized in any way that enables you to grasp them and say, yep, that's the right way to go about doing things. So this uncertainty that permeates the interior actually creates a feeling of having to explore the world with new eyes, as though you've never seen this particular way of people living, way of doing things before, and it's all totally new and novel. And so there's a certain degree of curiosity to play here. The uncertainty creates the need to find out more. Now, when we add the underlying energy here, we can have white on white, and that is an absolute wipeout. It is flash of enlightenment associated with curiosity, associated with reality checks. Something major will flash at you at the beginning of December. And when it does so, you really have to stop. That's what the red says. Stop and consider just what it is that has happened, because it's not necessarily something to be afraid of. Although white, because it is reflective of the unknown, not necessarily the unknowable, but definitely the unknown, means that you haven't come across this experience before. So white on white challenges you to take a fresh approach to things. It's a new life. The red on grey, on the other hand, is a little more cautious. You're feeling uncertain about what this massive change, this massive flash of enlightenment has created. You're not quite sure what to do. You're trying to find a pathway. And in the real world, you're trying everything that you can in order to achieve that particular path that you think you might be on, but you're not real sure. So the actions that you take as a result of being of the red over grey could even more severely damage you potentially than the red on white. At least with white, you know that you don't know anything, or you don't know what this situation is. You don't know how to respond. Here, you've got some inkling, but you're not 100% sure. Either way, the red says stop and reconsider your choices, your options. By the middle of the month, we have pink on blue. Now, blue internally is always a need for some sort of organization, for nurturing of the self, for looking after the things that are important, doing your duty by yourself, and also for others. In the real world, there's very little energy to do that. You're a very kind and caring and loving person who is prepared to help others out. But are you also prepared to accept help back again? Because when we have pink in the external world, it often means that there is a need for you to accept assistance from others. Can you do that? The interesting thing here is that pink is what we get when we mix red and white together. So here we have all of the energy in the real world responding to an emptiness internally, and here that has now transformed into an ability to seek and also give out the sort of energy that will enable you to be appreciated for the things that you do, and at the same time urge you to appreciate what others do for you as well. If we look at how the underlying energy impinges upon this, we can have pink over white. Now, in many ways, that's a sort of a reversal of justice. The emptiness felt internally leads off to an experience of having to just simply accept whatever it is that is thrown at you. You have no options. You cannot make the decisions. You are the one that simply must passively accept what is being offered. And what is being offered to you is the unknown. You're not sure of what it is that you are going to get when you accept offers. On the other hand, we could also go the red over blue route. Now, blue, as I said, has to do with nurturing and getting organized and being orderly and doing the nurturing things that are necessary in the real world. It is all about taking charge. Now, interestingly, the red and blue together have to do with being your own parent. Blue is the mothering energy, that's the need or drive. Red is the fathering energy, that is the action. So you are taking charge of whatever it is that you need internally in order to create the sort of environment, both internal and external, that you want. This is a very creative energy because when we mix red and blue together, we get purple. And purple is all about change. It's about destruction and recreation. And so here we have a situation where you are taking charge of what you need in order to remain calm and at peace. And in doing so, you are unleashing an enormous potential for change. That potential for change doesn't sit terribly easily with this passive acceptance of whatever is thrown at you. But once they are activated, they can indeed lead you down a path that will be quite beneficial, depending on what choices that you make. And where does that lead you? Well, here we end up the end of the month with black over grey. Now, black over grey is virtually the opposite of white over grey that we have back here. The grey remains. There is still this sense of unease, the sense of I don't quite know what it is that is expected of me or that I am expecting of the world. There is uncertainty and confusion and a search for a middle path. And in the real world, what you do is you close down. You refuse to allow anyone to make choices for you. Here, the choices were being made for you. Here, you've closed that down. You've closed up shop. You're not giving away any information. You're not giving away any energy, but you're also not receiving anything back either. It is a total shut up shop, and you're not prepared to allow others to impinge upon what it is that is going on both internally and also in the real world. You've made your decisions and now you are sticking with them no matter what. If we take the black over the white, what we have here is a swinging backwards and forwards between two extremes. There is a feeling of emptiness, and what you're doing is holding on to everything that you already have rather than losing any more. On the other hand, we have red over grey, which is pretty much the same as we had back here. This feeling of uncertainty that comes through in the real world as an overabundance of energy and an overabundance of action. Often action that is not well thought out at all, because there's no thinking involved in any of this. So how do you hang on to everything and at the same time take charge of your life when you are a mixture of confusion and emptiness internally. Let's see what the missing colours have to say about this. You've got black, you've got white, you've got red. There's no yellow or green, but you do have blue. There's no brown or orange. You have grey. There's no purple, although it is hidden here. There's pink, and there's no cyan. So here we have 6 colours, 6 sets of skills that will be active for you in the month of December. What is missing here are these 6 colours. Here we have yellow, learning and remembering what it is that you have learned. So new experiences and mostly fairly happy experiences. Green, the colour associated with getting away from what was and finding a new path. Brown is the colour of skills, practical application, learning what you need in order to obtain the aims that you're looking for. Orange, the colour associated with the overcoming of drama and crisis as a result of your ability to survive at all costs. Purple, the colour associated with childhood, having fun, healing energies, but also the creation and destruction so that you can make things better. And cyan, the colour associated with bliss and harmony and everything in its place, everything in ultimate contentment. So of these colours, of these 6, which is the most appealing and then which is the least appealing? If you put those 2 colours into your life in some way and make sure that you actually take note of those colours on a pretty well daily basis, you'll find that by the time you're travelling through here and get to this stage of having to close off because you're not really sure where to go next, you'll find that you have all of the energy that is necessary to face reality and to move forward in a way that includes all of these skills, not just the extremes. Let's have a look at what the Oracle has to say on the topic. It says, reflect. Well, there are 2 ways of reflecting here. One of them is the white way, which is really looking at a mirror. And the other is the black way, which is turning inwards and checking out how you feel about yourself internally, meditating. Reflection sits here as part of the underlying energy, and it permeates everything that you'll be doing in December. It's probably not a bad choice, considering that this red is a warning. Don't overdo things. Well, the reading has been fairly short this time. That's partially because of the time constraints. December is a very busy month for most of us, so I don't have much time, and I dare say neither do you. And I dare say that a shorter reading would be far more beneficial to you. But I do have an offer on the table. If you've gotten this far and you've actually listened to the entirety of the reading and you feel it has something in it for you, why not contact me on my Gmail account, which is in the description. I'll also put it in the show notes. And in doing so, take up an offer of a free personal reading that we can do either via Zoom, such as a discussion here and now, or I can do it anonymously for you. But you need to ask for it. The decision is yours. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And if you have any questions or any comments to make, those would be appreciated down in the comments section, which tends to be fairly bare most of the time. Anyway, may you have a wonderful December. May the colours that you choose work for you in a way that enables you to feel at peace and in harmony with the world and all around. And let's look forward to a 2026 that is a little less chaotic than this year has been. Until next time, bye.